You know, when it comes to being a small commentary channel on YouTube, it's honestly surprising to see people like Toxicdistress, considering the fact that not only so long ago was he just another small commentary channel, but somehow he's managed to get to the status where he's pissed off at least 3 people with 100k subscribers, and somehow has managed to just grow from that stuff, apparently. In this video, I'm pretty much just going to be talking about his channel and stuff like that, because I just find the story of his channel to be an interesting one, and thought it would be nice if I would share around the story. So, let's get into the video. So when it comes to the content which Toxicdistress makes, they kind of follow 2 formulas to be specific. Those formulas rather being videos on other channels, or just talk about the commentary community within itself. And even though the topics which he talks about aren't completely original, to his credit, he does bring up some pretty good points, and his editing is pretty well, or just the quality of his videos are pretty well to the point where it's at least bearable. But that's not to say that his content has no flaws, as there are a couple of times where his points don't really stand up. So take what I said with a bit of a grain of salt when I say that. So now I guess I might as well just move on to the part where he gets into drama, or just how his channel apparently just kind of exploded from out of nowhere. Now, when it comes to the drama, the thing which mainly boosted Toxic and his channel, it has to have started with Poncho to the very least. And not to say that Poncho made a video on first, but Toxic made a video on Poncho. With, it eventually revolving to, oh yes, Toxic made a video, Poncho made a response, and then Toxic proceeding to go make multiple videos on the subject, and then just kind of blatantly milking it for as long as he can. And then even going beyond that, made sure to use him in multiple thumbnails that weren't even about the guy in general, and yeah, that was pretty much it. He also did the same thing with Sensitive Society after making like 2 videos on him, and that happened. And then he also got into a drama with Jaden, one that's more recent than what you could expect, and the situation kind of goes like, oh, but Toxic called me something which is transphobic or something like that. The details of the situation are kind of iffy, so sorry if I get a couple of things wrong, but pretty much what happened is that Toxic invited Jaden to a group chat. The group chat then said some pretty transphobic things to Jaden, and then in response, Jaden got pissed off on Twitter, and that's what happened. Now, the most surprising part about this, about the stuff which happened between Toxic and these large channels, is the fact that not only did they get all of their attention and got them to the point where they all simultaneously do not like him at all, but at the same time, he managed to get a response out of at least 2 of them. And that's fucking surprising, because the last thing that you would expect is that a channel with 100k responds to a channel with less than at least 1,000 subscribers. And then when it comes to the stuff with Jaden, the last thing that you would expect from someone like him is that after all this time where he just gets constantly criticized and people claim that he never responds to criticism, now he just suddenly responds to a small YouTuber from out of nowhere, not once, not twice, but multiple times, and then decides to go all out on Twitter, which is honestly, fucking surprising for the most part. So you could say that he got lucky, and matter of fact, really lucky, especially considering the fact that the fan bases of these channels could have easily, and I mean just easily, no disrespect to you, Toxic, could have just jumped on his channel, dislike bombed all of his videos, maybe spam reported with like all their combined effort, and probably just could have nuked him out of existence. But no, somehow Toxic manages to change all of their opinions, and matter of fact, instead of just all attacking him, they all just kind of were like, okay, it's not that bad. Because trust me, guys, even when you do say something like, oh yes, guys, just make sure not to attack their channel, there are going to be those people which do that thing regardless, so it was pretty surprising. So at the end of the day, I feel like Toxicdistress is a pretty decent commentary channel. He's not one of the best ones because, first of all, some of his points aren't all that good, and sometimes he comes up with some pretty unoriginal video topics and manages to also stretch out some videos for longer than they need to be, like as I mentioned earlier when it came to him making multiple videos on Poncho. And I do feel like half of his points are all that good, but for the most part, his overall quality of the videos are pretty decent, right after edited or not. And I just feel like it's going to be interesting to see about where his channel goes in the future. As a matter of fact, speaking about the future, I meant to include this earlier, I'm sorry. So, if there's one thing which I feel Toxic should be cautious of, it's his internet image. Now, of course, he's probably not going to care for now, but I think it's something that you should worry about, especially in the commentary community, considering the fact that there's already this stigma or this set precedent or this thing that's just set against people like, I don't know, commentary YouTubers and just the way how they make videos, with people like Jaden just being like, oh yeah, I don't like to be handling criticism and stuff like that, and people just making excuses in order to constantly attack them. I feel like if Toxic doesn't really manage or doesn't attempt at fixing his current situation when it comes to the way how people view him, it's gonna get bad, and before you know it, you're gonna have all these small commentary channels jumping on him and saying the same shit like how they constantly do with Jaden or some other commentary YouTuber, probably saying something along the lines of, oh yes, Toxicdistress is nothing more than a channel which likes to go and attack big YouTubers for the sake of getting views. It's not like I'm doing the same thing while I'm sitting here at my 103 subscribers since January whatever 2020. It's just gonna be like, you know, a circle jerk or just some echo chamber of people throwing baseless criticism at your channel. So just a suggestion, Toxic, you may not care now, but you might want to talk about your, I don't know, internet image, or may try to fix it, because sooner or later there's going to be those people which throw those baseless claims at you, and it just becomes redundant or whatever. So yeah, so that's my video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, folks, almost 360 out, and I will see you in another video coming soon, folks. Later.